Let's take a look at some of the headlines out there today. Coca-Cola CEO, he talks, and when he talks, it's a big product. It's well spread out, diversified throughout the world. He's saying the consumer's still doing well. There's an increase in mobility in China. Commodity price pressures have been slightly reduced. It expects inflation pressures will continue to soften. That is a good formula for Wall Street because not as Coca-Cola goes, so goes inflation. But it's definitely one of the components or one of the ideas in there. Amazon target lowered to 125 today from 145. What I liked about this upgrade downgrade is it talks about Amazon Web Services. It talks about growth of about 18%, where retail margins will hit break even during 2023. What's interesting about it is it's their favorite name. It's their top internet mega cap long idea with highly asymmetric risk reward. They see $85 as a downside, $125 as upside. They like those odds. That's an interesting thing to say because it's not something that comes out of my mouth easy. We're going to be talking with Tony Mendes in just a minute, talking about mortgages and homes. But first, let's hit the 10 biggest cities with the cheapest apartment rents. And what's interesting about this is how many of these cities, let's do a quick test out of 10, how many of them are you going to say yes to that you would want to live there? And give yourself a little reason. Houston, Texas, average rent is $1,349. It's a big area. I might want to live in Houston. Or if I was 25 years old, I might live in Houston. But man, is it hot during the summer. They've got a lot of culture, Museum of Fine Arts, Space Centers, Houston Symphony. Pittsburgh, nope. Average rent's $1,322. Minneapolis, St. Paul, nope. Too much ice and snow for me. $1,317 is the average rent. Columbus, Ohio. I know some people who live in Columbus and they say good things about it. Maybe. Cincinnati, Ohio. I hear nothing but strife come out of that city. Buffalo, New York. Nope. Too cold. People die. St. Louis. Yeah. I hear there's some lovely parts of St. Louis to live in. Birmingham, Alabama. Too south for me. My parents were from Alabama, and I'm not saying they were hillbillies, but they. My mom thought she could get pregnant by sitting on a toilet seat when she was like 18. Oh, Mom, I miss you. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Nope. Oklahoma City. Nope. Not a lot of desirable places with cheap. The cheap rents don't create a lot of desirable places for me. How did you do on that test? Let's bring in Tony Mendes with BayAreaLoanSource.com, a show that can be heard here on KDOW today at 2 and tomorrow at 6 p.m. Tony, how are you?
Good morning. Doing well.
Good morning. What did you think about a list of cities that have cheap rent? They all seem to have many themes in common. They're either in very cold weather, in areas that have seen shrinkage of jobs, or in the South.
Yeah, I think you put it well. They aren't as desirable as, let's say, for example, the Bay Area or maybe even a Salt Lake City or Phoenix. Some people like that dry weather, and they don't like the deep South, eastern portion of the United States. But I think it's all about migration, and I think that we're going to continue seeing rents have actually been coming down a little bit in some of the big metropolitan areas. I think Oakland, San Francisco, they've been topping the list. So people have been kind of reevaluating where they want to go as far as rent, and we still have a work from home philosophy. In some cases, it's eased back a little bit. So we might see places that aren't as desirable continue to see the bottom of the list because other places are kind of easing right now.
So Tony Mendes is my mortgage lender. He's got a list of services that include conventional loans, investor loans, interest-only loans, private money, hybrid private money, first-time homebuyer programs, second loans, renovation loans, reverse mortgages, jumbo reverse mortgages, and much, much more, including construction loans. Let's talk about something you and I talked about yesterday in the late afternoon. My property management company in North Carolina contacted me and said the renter's out in March. And I was like, I know a lot of people in the Bay Area that want real estate as investment property. But I've seen too many of them say things like, yeah, my mortgage is $4,500 and I charge $3,500 for rent. And I'm like, oof. What's your thoughts on property management as a topic goes?
I think it's a great topic. Real estate over many years, especially through coming out of the Great Recession, where people are just buying as many properties as they can. We have investors that set goals like, I want to buy a property every year. So a lot of
Yeah,
people got into real estate, but they didn't know what they were going to do, how they were going to do it. Were they going to get a property management company? Were they going to try to do it on their own to save a little bit of money? I bet you more people today that are looking to buy investment property are going, oh, I'm going to do it on my own because I don't want to pay a property management company, but they may have never done it before. So it's not what we really advise to somebody who may be an amateur or even somebody who has a little bit of experience with property management companies and wants to flip over to self-management. It's a really tough call, Rob, because it's, as you know, property management companies kind of, some are as bad as you can be, and some can be really good where you just never have to deal with the property, and that's really what you're looking for
sure.
out of a good property management company. So it's a tough decision.
I've had a property in Raleigh, North Carolina for about 18 years. You and I went to Raleigh 18 years ago. We looked around, had a property, had a real estate agent, then I found a property management company. Probably the best decision I ever made because I think I would have sold it by now. I've had maybe 5 total tenants. Some of them have been really long term, some of them have been 1 year and they're out. But the property management company sends me emails like, um, I just got an email yesterday that said, you're charging $1,200 rent. The average rent's $1,800. The renters are due to leave in March. What do you want to do? I said, well, do they want to stay? Because then if we don't have to find a new person, that's great. Is the property in good condition? They're like, we'll find out. But they want to raise the rate. They want to raise the prices, and I'm reluctant to because I don't like change, and it's pretty amateurish of me. I could be making an extra $7,500 a year easily if I were just to charge market rents. What do you think about the idea on that concept of trusting the property management company to do the right thing by you?
Well, first, if they're asking you to raise rents, they're giving you good information. That's something that you should at least look at, and kind of put aside the fact that the more money that you charge for a tenant, the more money they make as well, because it's a percentage, usually 8 to 10% of the monthly rent. I pay 10%, but I have a really good property management company, and I haven't had to do anything, just like you. So sometimes you want to trust the gut instinct. But you said something that was really interesting, and that is, we don't know. You asked them what the condition of the property looks like, and they said, we don't know. We'll find out. I had a property where I had that same situation where I had to go and spend $33,000. I had no idea that the tenant had destroyed the property. I wanted to raise rents, but if I did, they probably would have said, you got to fix the property up. So I actually spent $30-something thousand to fix the house and decided not to rent it and sell it instead, which turned out to be, I think, a good idea because I hit it right at the peak of COVID. But that's a tough one. We run into a lot of clients that have rental properties. More often than not, they're not charging market rents because they have that same kind of, well, I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to kick out a tenant, or I don't want them to get pissed off at me and break a toilet, or whatever it might be. But a lot of tenants are leaving money on the table. We have one client that's charging $600 less a month than market rents, and just because he likes them.
Yeah, you're totally right on that. I've seen more people go bankrupt trying to be landlords themselves than I've ever seen anyone go bankrupt investing or even bankrupt going after cryptocurrencies. Because you still owe that mortgage every single month, whereas if you lose $10,000 in crypto, that's all you lose. So I like professional property management, and I I think it can help people avoid bankruptcy. It's a really odd thing to say, but I think in the Bay Area, there's way too many amateur real estate tycoons. And I get it. You turn on the TV and you see Trump and he's got all these buildings and you're fired. And you see the flip it shows where they're reality shows, they're scripted, they're not non-scripted. And we kind of fall for it. It looks like an easy way for the average person who doesn't have a college degree to accumulate wealth. And on some levels, it is. But it's also a great way to go bankrupt as well. Thoughts?
What's interesting too is that when people budget for these transactions, they're looking at a loan, they're looking at the what they call the PITI, principal interest tax insurance, the obligation on that house. they don't factor in that property management. They always look at the best numbers, and they also look at the best rents. So rents usually go up at a nice pace. But they also go down in some cases. So you have to kind of budget that. And unfortunately, not everybody does it. Again, going back into somebody who has a low interest rate, a low purchase price, they can probably afford not to go to market rents. But if you're buying a property today and you need market rents to qualify, you have to budget that in. Otherwise, it's not going to pencil out, and maybe you should wait.
I hear you. How can people find you, and where are you on the dial per se?
We do the show on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. and we replays Thursday night at 6 p.m. But that's just our radio show. You can find us at BayAreaLoanSource.com. We have a local Bay Area office here in Lafayette. All the information is at BayAreaLoanSource.com. We also have Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn. It's very easy to find us.
Thanks very much. It's Tony Mendes. He's a longtime friend of mine, as well as my mortgage lender. I work with people like CFP Chad Burton, EP Wealth. I work with people like Tony Mendes. You can find him at BayAreaLoanSource.com. It's BayAreaLoanSource.com. He's got a list of services that's almost too long. Any type of loan you need, he can work with you on. Find him at BayAreaLoanSource.com.